China, a large and ancient country in East Asia that we all know, has always had a unique culture that stands out from the rest. In ancient China, when an important person died, similar to ancient Egypt, they would place objects in their tomb, such as their sword, clothing, or even food. Today, we are going to visit a very interesting tomb in China, the tomb of the first emperor of China, whose name gave rise to the name China itself, Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang was born on February 18th to 59 BCE in the city of Handan. At that time, eastern China was a developed region, but it was far from unified, with each area acting independently. Qin Shi Huang was born into a powerful family, and even then, his father was referred to as the King of Qin, referring to their specific region. When his father passed away, and Qin Shi Huang assumed power, he had a much grander vision. From the beginning, his dream was to unify all of China, and he worked tirelessly towards this goal. He built the most powerful army, and with his courage and strategic planning, he succeeded in unifying all of China within a few years, becoming the first emperor of a unified China at the age of 38. The people of China admired him greatly for his strength and leadership. Qin Shi Huang spared no effort in improving the empire, constructing roads throughout the empire, passing laws that allowed people to buy land, something that was previously only possible for landowners, and establishing a unified currency to be used across the empire. At the time, each region of China spoke different languages, and most of the time, they couldn't understand each other. Qin Shi Huang selected the best language and declared that everyone must learn it, which helped unify the country even more. This decision played a crucial role in making China a powerful, cohesive nation, ensuring it could never be erased from the map throughout history. Qin Shi Huang unified China and made it so that everyone spoke the same language. Everyone loved him, but there was an ancient tradition in China, as we mentioned earlier, where valuable items were buried with important figures. As the most important figure in Chinese history, Qin Shi Huang had vast wealth, including a massive army. During his lifetime, he summoned his most important general, Meng Tia, and instructed him to start building his tomb, which took 38 years to complete. Qin Shi Huang was a successful emperor who won 90% of his battles, which is why he believed he had many enemies. He instructed General Tia to include his army in the tomb because, without them, his enemies might attack him in the afterlife. The general followed his orders, but instead of mummifying the soldiers like in Egypt, the army was created as clay statues, an army known as the terracotta warriors. Many people have seen these statues and wonder what they are and why they were made. They were created to protect the emperor in the afterlife. These statues remain as they were, without any changes. When you look at them, you'll notice that they are all facing east. This was because the emperor believed that their enemies would come from the east. And indeed, 2,200 years later, enemies from the East Japan did attack China. As you may have seen in history documentaries, a Chinese historian named Sima Qian, who lived around 90 BC, wrote that the construction of the emperor's mausoleum took 40 years and employed 750,000 people. Modern historians believe that he may have exaggerated, as the work could likely have been done with around 15,000 people over 40 years. Regardless of the numbers, the artisans who worked on the site were incredibly skilled. They created 8,000 clay soldiers, 520 military horses, 130 chariots, and 150 cavalry figures, all made with precision and artistry. What's most fascinating is that no two soldiers are alike. Each has a unique face, clothing, hairstyle, and expression, as if they were a real army of individuals. The horses are similarly unique, and each statue was made with a mold, baked in a kiln, and then individually detailed. Qin Shi Huang died at the age of 49 in 10 BCE, but his tomb was still unfinished. It took another 4 years to complete, though the emperor had already been buried there. However, the entire complex was kept hidden from the public. The structure, shaped like a pyramid, was covered with earth and vegetation to make it look like a natural hill. Important people in China often hid their tombs to prevent enemies from desecrating them, and many workers who built the tomb were killed to ensure its secrecy, much like Genghis Khan's tomb, which remains undiscovered to this day. One of the most interesting facts is that the statues are not all the same height. While the soldiers are around 180 centimeters tall, give or take a few centimeters, the generals are 196 centimeters tall, much larger than the soldiers, and their armor is more elaborate. The tomb also contains other figures, such as dancers, musicians, and various animals like ducks and roosters. The secrecy surrounding the tomb was so effective that no one knew it existed for 2,200 years, until 1974, when local farmers digging a well stumbled upon the underground structure. The Chinese government sent archaeologists to investigate, and they soon realized they had uncovered one of the most important historical treasures of China. It took archaeologists years to excavate the entire site, as everything was buried under the earth. When they carefully unearthed the statues, they discovered that each one had originally been painted in bright colors, but after 2,000 years underground, most of the paint had faded. To preserve the remaining colors, archaeologists applied a chemical called polyethylene glycol to protect the statues from exposure to the air. At that time, people in China believed that mercury was the elixir of life, and the wealthy, including Qin Shi Huang, would consume mercury in the hopes of achieving immortality. Some believe that the emperor's death at 49 may have been due to mercury poisoning, possibly leading to cancer. Modern archaeologists have found high levels of mercury in the soil around the tomb, possibly indicating that the site was intentionally filled with mercury, but this remains uncertain. Today, archaeologists continue to work on the site, and new discoveries are made regularly. Although the tomb itself has not yet been opened, it is considered the largest burial complex in human history, covering 52 square kilometers, 52 million square meters. This immense project still has a long way to go before it is fully uncovered, and it's a delicate process requiring meticulous work with brushes and tools. Perhaps one day, the tomb of Qin Shi Huang will be opened, but for now, we can only wait.